Spurs' promising window is becoming a disaster, they must back Conte. New year, same old Tottenham. It feels like we've been here before, doesn't it? Bruno Fernandes, Ruben Dias and now Luis Diaz, what do these three players all have in common? On the surface, they've all made their names in Portuguese football, shining for the top division's three biggest clubs. But, take a closer look, they've all been wanted by Spurs, and if Liverpool manage to pinch Diaz from under Daniel Levy's nose as expected, he'll become another highly rated target who has slipped through the club's fingers and moved on to bigger and better things in the Premier League. The damning news also comes less than 24 hours after Adama Traore snubbed a move to North London in favour of a return to Barcelona, leaving a massively frustrated Antonio Conte to miss out on yet another name on his wish list. It's an all-too-familiar story during Levy's reign as Tottenham chairman, and in Diaz's case, one every Spurs fan saw coming. Let's take Bruno Fernandes for example. Spurs refused to meet Sporting Lisbon's valuation of the midfielder and missed out on signing him. Their offer of £35 million, €45 million, plus £16 million, €20 million, in add-ons was deemed not enough, especially when the add-ons were highly unachievable, according to Sporting president Frederico Varandas. When recalling the failed move, Varandas revealed that the add-ons Levy put forward were dependent on Spurs winning the Premier League or Champions League. Sporting were right to laugh Spurs out of the building. Fernandes was eventually snapped up by Manchester United, and he has been a revelation since his arrival at Old Trafford. Spurs, meanwhile, ended up with the injury-prone Giovanni Lo Celso, a player they've been looking to send out on loan this month. It was very much the same story with Diaz. Spurs prioritized signing the centre-back in the summer of 2020, but Levy once again refused to meet Benfica's asking price of £50 million. This time, it was United's rivals that picked up the pieces and signed the Portugal international. In his first season, he helped re-stabilize City's backline and won the Premier League Player of the Year award, along with the title in his first season at the Etihad. In the last week or so, Spurs have once again been haggling with a Portuguese club, this time Porto, over signing one of their biggest stars. Their opening bid of £37 million plus add-ons for Diaz was swiftly rejected by Porto, who have been holding out for around £60 million, and Spurs fans could see the end result coming a mile off. As Levy and director of football Fabio Paratici readied an improved bid, Liverpool made their move and are now on course to hijack a £50 million deal to land the Colombian. It's the hope that kills you. The fact that this came less than 24 hours after Traore's near-certain loan move to Spurs fell through is laughable. Traore had been earmarked by Conte, and there was a growing confidence that a deal could be concluded, seeing as talks between Spurs and Wolves had been held for weeks with the expectation that Traore would move to North London. After trying to convince Wolves into loaning them Traore with an obligation to buy, Spurs were knocked back, leaving them to stump up £20 million in cash to secure his signature. But when a cash-strapped Barcelona came calling, even Tottenham couldn't compete, and Conte has been left to wonder who will end up coming through the door before Monday's deadline. But this isn't anything new. Spurs have been here before. It must be said that Spurs just don't have the same pull as Liverpool, City or United. Diaz, understandably, prefers a move to Anfield, and this whole sorry saga was bound to happen given Liverpool had been plotting to make a move this summer, only for things to be accelerated given Spurs' interest. Spurs may have been willing to offer the money to sign Diaz, but it all feels a little too late, with just days left to sign recruitments. Levy is a shrewd businessman, but he's been caught out time and time again, which has led to supporter frustration and protests against ENIC and the board. If we look back over the last decade, Spurs' inability to get deals over the line has cost them dearly and has left fans exasperated. João Moutinho was literally minutes away from joining Spurs way back in 2012, but the paperwork was not submitted on time. If the move had gone through, it's arguable that he would still be in Spurs' squad right now. Paulo Dybala, Jack Grealish, Willian, Sadio Mane, Luis Suarez and countless others are all names Spurs failed to bring to the club, and it feels like Diaz is the next one to be added to that list. And it's not as if Levy wasn't warned. The spotlight has firmly been on Tottenham this month, given how Conte told the club exactly what he needed if Spurs were to have any hope of securing a top-4 finish this season. Murmurs that the Italian would leave if he wasn't properly backed led to Conte being questioned just 2 months in about if he was committed to the task at hand. He has a track record of not sticking around if he isn't fully supported in the transfer window, and now Levy is left staring down the barrel. With just days until the transfer window closes, Levy must now pull the rabbit out of the hat and bring in the recruits Conte needs to secure Champions League football for next season. If he doesn't, Spurs fans could be faced with an unwanted disappearing act from Conte and the club left in an unwanted cycle of what could have been.